talk to you.
Good morning. It's Monday, December 23rd, 2024, 9 a.m. It's the Muscatine County Board of Supervisors. I'd like to call the meeting to order. First item on the agenda is to review the agenda.
On that agenda where I had asked Jim about the 2080 agreement in the minutes, it says it was about 245th Bridge. That needs to be changed to, because last week I asked Jim about where we was at on the 2080 agreement. The notes you have with it are correct, but.
Are you looking at,
For
are
the
you
land.
talking about on the minutes?
Yes.
Okay.
2 weeks
Oh,
ago
excuse me,
was the
excuse me,
break.
yeah, so the agenda's fine,
So-
the agenda's fine, I was wrong with that.
We'll talk about that,
Yeah.
we'll get that
But we'll get
squared
that
out in the
later.
minutes. So
I
the
jumped the gun
agenda.
on that, that was supposed to be down below.
Okay, this is the agenda. Are we,
Yeah.
And I would move to approve.
we have a motion by
Yes.
Scott.
I'll second that.
I'll
And I have a
second.
second by Danny. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carries. Item 3, discussion of possible action approved claims dated December 23rd, 2024 in the amount of $422,774.75.
Move to approve.
Have a motion by Scott,
Second.
second by Kurt. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same? Motion carries. Item 4 are items with the Planning and Zoning Administrator Eric Furnace. 4A is discussion possible action to approve change order number 7 with Renaissance Roofing for flagpole and roof hatch removal for the county courthouse roofing project in the amount of $12,752 and 60 cents, sorry.
So what I just gave you there is a photograph of where the flagpole comes down through the roof into the attic and is anchored into a really heavy steel base. This is something we had asked when the project first got started, asked them to look at, because, and you're all aware of how much is exposed from the peak on up that big flagpole. It's kind of a monster. It's a heavy, hollow aluminum, heavy wall. Hollow has an internal cable system in it that's been broke for years. We haven't put a flag on it for several years because it's very difficult to raise the flag up and down. We have a flagpole in the yard. So when we looked at this project, we asked them to, could they possibly accommodate removing that? They said they could. They got around to giving us numbers on that. Had a little sticker shock at first. So I went up there and looked at the actual mechanism. I thought surely there's a way to just lower it from the inside down. It would be very difficult to do inside because the flagpole base is probably 10 feet tall that's anchored into concrete, and then the actual flagpole sits in it, and you're standing on a ledge and it's out here. There's just no good way of taking apart the sections and lowering it down. So the method that they would need would be to erect some scaffolding around it to be able to cut it in chunks and lower it, the chunks of the old flagpole. Again, it's broken. It's very difficult. You have to stand on kind of a makeshift ladder in that hatch that's off the side to remove flags when they get tattered or whatever, to take them up, half-mast days. So we thought this might be the opportune time to just remove that pole and that roof hatch. There, obviously, any penetrations in a roof are just, kind of a leak waiting to happen. So this is to remove that flagpole and that access hatch that's right off the side of it. They would then roof over it with the new roof, and we wouldn't have those penetrations anymore. It'd kind of be done forever.
They don't currently use that flagpole any
We
longer?
haven't used it in several
So
years.
we're just removing it, we're not replacing it?
No, we're just getting rid of it completely and then re-roofing, so we don't have a skylight slice hatch and we don't have a flagpole penetration in the roof anymore. It'll all be all new roofing, waterproof. We have a flagpole in the corner of the yard off the side of one of the memorial columns there that we use for the actual flag for the grounds.
Yeah, I think that location with that height of that roof, it's just not good to have
It used to
staff
require,
out there.
Yeah, we've actually had staff in the past that fell off the courthouse roof years and years ago. They installed a hatch with a ladder so you don't have to climb clear out on the roof anymore, but you still have to be halfway exposed and reaching out when it's time to work on it. And like I said, the cable inside is broken. I don't know how you would replace that whole internal assembly to ever use it again anyway. So it's really not a good situation to change out flags and do service on. It requires going up into the attic every time.
And when they put the monument in the front yard, we added a flagpole to that, which is
Yeah.
nice, and that's what the staff maintains today. We
Yeah.
keep that, so I
Yeah.
think that's a good,
So
okay, so,
I
I have a motion by Danny. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Nathan. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carries.
We'll pass those down. And then just as some other, we've got another change order or change orders coming. This was hopefully be the last of what I was kind of expecting. You'll get a diagram of the roof. You'll see there's a dormer on the north and the south side that has some recessed cornice ledge. And then those photos are the first section of the south dormer that they replaced. It's a gutter built in that cornice ledge. If you recall, they had to redo a lot of the planking on the rest of the exterior of the building on that cornice ledge and internal gutter. There was all kinds of rotten lumber. When they started to open it up, they found the same thing around those two dormers. So the blue is what they did last week. They uncovered it and had to go ahead and make the repairs because they had it uncovered. So they replaced the rotten planking in there. The red is what remains to be done, that we expect similar damage. And so they're going to contact us each time they do those, and we'll see where those amounts. They're just doing it on a time and material basis. I already saw the materials for that south corner, and and it looks like it does reflect the actual footage that was replaced. New 1x8s and some 1x3s, and most of it's labor again, removing and replacing. But so those will be coming. But I just wanted to. It's a little difficult because they really don't know the extent of each section until they open them up. So if you could kind of just give me the, I guess, authorization to work with them. They'll be doing them a section at a time, and he couldn't attach a firm number to each section until they get them opened up and see how many feet.
Well, this is comparable to one, and I think it was on the ends that we had the similar issue. And I don't remember what that change order was, but we've got a time and material on this, not,
We don't, well, yeah, they'll give us a time and material. I had some back and forth with him. I was hesitant to say, just give me a time and material not to exceed number. But my experience, when they give you those not to exceeds, they're gonna assume worst case scenario and then figure out a way to meet it. And so we're gonna do on a case by case basis, section by section. When they uncover a section, like the north dormer, we're going to come down and look at it, and then they'll give me a number for that section, just strictly based on time and material. And then we're gonna be able to actually monitor the time that they're doing that. Each one of these is done in about 2 days. The south one, they neglected to call us, they just had to go ahead, well, they claimed they had to go ahead and repair it. They've sent a lot of photos. I mean, I did the measurements, I think it's consistent with what was there. I was a little disappointed that we weren't called until after the work was done, but we made it very clear on the sections that are in red. When they uncover them, we will come down and look at it, and they'll give us a number, and we'll proceed on section by section, just time and materials. So that's just coming, like, for example, that blue section came to about $3,000 with time and material, so you can kind of see what's left, so we may have another 6,000 to 9,000.
give me an idea of scale on it. 30 feet each side?
No, more like each section, probably about 16 to 18 feet.
So you're probably,
By about 18 inches wide, so
Yeah.
that, like, there was about 80 board feet of it was either 1x6 or 1x8, because they used 2 of them in there to kind of fit the slope, and then some 1x3 to miter the returns where it meets where the dormer meets the other roof line. So, again, I went through, Brandon and I looked at the pictures, did some measurement, and it looks like the material they were quoting on that first one was accurate with what would be needed, so. And the labor rate we do have in the contract established
yeah.
for when they need to do time and material work, so.
So I would be comfortable with approving Eric and the group to review these. We know what the issue is. It needs to be repaired. I don't wanna hold up other work for it, and I think as long as you review that, I would be comfortable. I don't know how we put that into an agreement. I don't know what the recommendation would be. For this work, I think we're aware of it. We realize it could be, what do you say, it's $3,000 and you got about 36 feet, so $100 a foot. So, you could be looking in that kind of range.
So basically what we're probably, and because they're gonna, expose them section by section, I would anticipate each potential change order to be under that $7,500 that you had previously given me authorization to approve, without waiting to come on, and then the following Monday I'll have you affirm it, so they'll do the north dormer, and then they'll do the side kickouts of the south and north separately, and so those should all be each time under that $7,500, so we already kinda have that covered in the minutes for authorization, so.
Right.
Just wanted to give you a heads up, this was the area that I was expecting some more change order, because like the rest of the cornice ledge and internal gutter, it functions the same, and we were expecting to see some more rotten planking, but until they got it uncovered, there was no way to know, so.
Yeah, how much? Okay,
Is there a specific product that they use, that they use like treated material or don't know?
No, it's not treated, because it all
It's all
gets,
sealed.
it gets lined with, the copper and then the rubber membrane and
Got it.
everything, so.
Okay.
It's just a decking to support the tray that's in that cornice ledge / internal gutter
Okay.
system, so.
Very good.
So I think that's all I have.
okay, thank you, Eric. Okay, item number 5, discussion possible action to approve the minutes of the December 16th, 2024 meeting, and you had some.
Okay, now this is the proper channel to discuss it. I think you you told Tybee about the change, she knows what needs to be changed, right?
Yeah, I showed her the email I sent you that very day regarding the landfill 20, not anything, which is a week early.
So, you wanna move as amended? I think that would be appropriate.
Yep.
Okay. So is that a motion, Dan?
Yes.
A motion as amended by Danny,
Second.
I have a second by Kurt. Any further discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, the same. Motion carries. Correspondence, Scott.
I don't believe that anything to note.
Okay, Nathan?
Same.
I had nothing to note.
Didn't have anything?
The only thing I had,
About this,
this-
your meeting with these guys?
yeah, Wednesday the 17th,
Yeah,
Danny and I did meet
right.
with Invenergy. They're doing the solar project, fishing, I guess I'd call it, near the West Liberty area. And we met with them for about an hour. Kinda interesting on what they've got
Yeah,
going
sounds like,
so far.
sounds like they got a bunch of contracts. They're working on continuing that process. Sounds like it might be a year or two out before it actually.
Yeah,
And you said, Kurt, that the question we had from a landowner here about something about solar, and you said that was them doing.
yeah, they're doing test pilings.
Pilings in area.
Yep,
One of the questions I have when I look at this, we're seeing a lot of solar activity, and I know in talking with supervisors from Louisa County, one of the things they had mentioned to watch as we go through was that when these construction projects begin and they get into that contracting, to make sure that all items are delivered Muscatine County, because apparently the contractor that did that job had them delivered to another state with a no sales tax. And then they didn't pay sales tax on any of the goods coming into that project. And these will be significant, maybe $1 billion kind of projects. So I think when we get into agreements and we get looking at that, that's something we need to protect our county taxpayer. The other question I have, and I don't know the answer, Nancy, and I don't know who does, is what is the effect, in this one, you guys said that they have several thousand acres
Sounded like it.
under contract. So if you have a several thousand acre parcel in the county that goes into utility service, what is the impact on property tax and the property taxpayer for that?
So-
I don't know if that goes into a utility tax, is it taxed differently?
I asked those guys about that a little bit on, let's say a landowner's paying X amount per acre just for his property taxes currently. Now when these contracts come in place, they'll pick up the responsibility of the property taxes, but then those rates go up significant. And I asked them what they've seen for other projects, because they've been doing this for like 25 years, on the increase from prior to when it's just a landowner owning it, and now it's a solar farm. What kind of increases do we see to tax revenue coming in? And they didn't have that answer. They said they'd look into it and get back to me. but you think they would've known something.
Yeah, and I don't know if that, you know, because if it's utility, does that go into a different classification? I don't know
I
how
can't
that
answer
works.
that. I think that's an auditor question,
Yeah.
or
Is it an
assessor,
auditor or is it assessor?
or assessor, one of the two.
I mean, I don't know, cause, you know, like if you have, cause I know our municipal utilities here, they're probably, I don't know if they're municipally tax exempt, but then you have franchise fees and you have all kinds of other things that can get involved, and where do those tax dollars flow?
Yeah.
Is the question I would have.
They, you know, they said in their selling point, the reason the counties would, or cities might wanna bring these on is the large increase in, property tax revenue coming in. And when I asked them, okay, well, how much? I don't know. You think they'd have known?
A lot, yeah, okay.
Would it be different than on a much smaller scale, payments on cell towers? Would that be different from that? I don't know, just something I thought about.
I don't know, I don't know how generation facility, you know, cause we don't have, like, Louisa County has the Mid-American, or Alliant, Mid-American, I think it is plant, right?
I'm assuming is when these, solar start popping up, it sounds like we've got one coming sooner than later down there by Fruitland, and then some of these, there's 2 or 3 other companies that are locking up contracts. And then if we ever do get any wind projects, I'm assuming that that's gonna increase property tax revenue for us significantly. I'm kinda interested to know how much.
Yeah, well, it'd be something to keep an eye on, find out how it goes. You know, my fear would be that it would funnel through some kind of a utility tax and go back to a statewide collection and not necessarily flow to the county taxpayer. Cause, we will have, anytime you put that amount of activity, construction, whatever, into an area, rural area, you're gonna have increased costs for the county. I don't know what exactly they'll look like, but we will have them. I haven't spoken to Louisa County. I don't know, Brian, if you've spoken to the engineer down there around that solar farm and what kind of issues they may have. That's like 700 acres, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's the large loads that you have with a wind farm, you don't necessarily have that with a solar, but there's a lot of material that goes into them. Just putting gravel down for the roads to service them within the site itself. It's a lot of traffic on the roads. So, and making sure that they set their service roads up properly is also another thing that I've had in conversation with Watts County.
And I know, somebody mentioned, the impact on wildlife movement, cause when you take that sheer amount of acreage and you put large fence,
Yeah.
it has to be
Right.
fenced, like with the 6 foot, what's that gonna do and how's that, do we have increased risk on our roadways of, collisions and things like that, so it's interesting, I think. Sounds like we need some research, but we currently have a moratorium on wind, but not solar, is that correct, Eric?
Correct.
Yeah, okay. All right, do you have any committee reports, Kurt?
Yeah, Thursday, December 19th, I had We Lead board meeting, and also on the 19th, the Muscatine County Fair board meeting.
Okay,
The only thing that I had this week was that joint session that all of us attended
Joint
on the
session.
17th.
yeah. Okay, on the 16th, I had the Eastern Iowa Mental Health Region. And I believe did I mention that Robert Young Center has indicated that they're gonna cancel their contract, or per the terms, it's a 90-day. I think they have till March 14th is now the date. They've asked that we terminate early. So we're gonna meet again, I think, January 3rd to discuss that, and whether, it's actually, they've made a very good offer to the region that would be fiscally very beneficial to the region, who's having some troubles right now. But, the big thing is, how do you keep services in place, keep people in place? So we had that meeting on the 16th, and unfortunately, I was an advocate that we have them present that at that meeting, and they weren't put on the agenda, so we have to get that done later. And then on the 17th, I had the joint meeting. On the 18th, I had the bi-state meeting. And then I did attend that preliminary exit conference with the auditors this week. I think we all probably had those
Yeah.
meetings. That's all I
Yeah.
had.
I think we all did that.
Nathan?
Well, no, I was not at the joint meeting on last Tuesday, the 17th. I think everybody else was. I did not have anything committee-wise other than the auditor, or the exit interview with the state auditor. But I can report that the Wilton Economic Development Corporation looks like it's about to get a new headquarters. And a really nice deal, rent-wise, so looks like it'll be at the northwest corner of the building storefront on 4th and Maurer Street, so that's an exciting development.
Okay.
Scott?
On Monday, the 16th, had the Conservation Board, and the bids came in for the roadways down at the RV park, and Triple B got the bid, and they got it, depending on if they're going to pour concrete or if they're gonna do asphalt there. Initially, the group voted to put concrete in there, but after some information came back from Bolton and Mink, and I talked with Brian on this too somewhat, that under that particular type of ground down there that's basically all sand, that the recommendation was to run asphalt as opposed to concrete, because the flex that would be advantageous for that particular product on there as opposed to concrete you'd have a lot more problems with cracking and breaking over time. So initially my thought was concrete, but as I talked to the folks about it, it made sense to have that flexibility of that asphalt on there. And then on Tuesday the 17th, I attended the joint meeting, as well as I had attended the auditor's exit meeting. That's all I had.
Item number 8 is items with the administration office. Item 8A, discussion of possible action authorizing the chair to execute July 2024 to June 30, 2025 agreement regarding Muscatine County Sheriff's Office Deputy Sheriff's Unit between Muscatine County and Chauffeurs, Teamsters, Helpers, Local Unit number 238. So this is basically a formal signature on the agreement.
Yep.
So we'll need a motion in a second.
I'd move.
I have a motion by Scott,
I'll second.
second by Danny. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carries. Other.
Just a reminder that next week, we'll not only have our regular meeting on the 30th, but we'll also meet again on January 2nd. By law, we have to meet the first non-holiday of the new calendar year. It's an organizational meeting. It'll be fairly short, but
Okay. And Nancy, I had we got a request, and I thought I'd forward it, but I'd like to put on the agenda at some point a discussion on our vacation policy.
yeah, I do have that.
I had a request.
Yep,
For some,
yep, that'll be on next week.
okay, perfect. And somebody else had mentioned,
Oh,
that we also talked about we had talked about the landfill agreement that we need to get through with the city. And I think the recommendation might be that we look to appoint a subset of this committee or a committee to work on that from the county's perspective, and then bring it back to the board before we go to the city on what we think we really ought to do. So maybe let's put that on the agenda next week to appoint that committee and set that.
Okay.
That's good. Anything else? Anything else?
I don't have anything else.
Okay, item number 9 then is to receive information from county employees. Any county employees wishing to address the board this morning? Item 10 is to receive comments from the public. Any members of the public? Seeing no one come forward, it is 9:25 and meeting is adjourned.